Welcome to the SwimSwam podcast. I'm today's host, Coleman Hodges, and joining us today, he's the head coach of Riptide Swim Club. We are talking to Mike Parratto. Mike, how's it going?
Very good, Coleman. Thank you very much for inviting me. Appreciate it.
This episode of the SwimSwam podcast is sponsored by Commit Swimming, SwimSwam's exclusive team management software partner. Since 2015, Commit has been providing coaches with swimming's leading workout management software. And now, Commit has team management software too. Commit wants to help you make the switch from Team Unify to a simpler, more powerful solution. Their onboarding and customer service team will walk you through every step of the way. Check them out at commitswimming.com to book your demo today. That's COMMIT swimming.com. You have coached a lot of great swimmers through your day, but we've been doing a series where we're talking to developmental and club coaches of current Olympians, and you got to coach Regan Smith through a lot of her club years. So I guess just first off, she made her second Olympic team. How are you feeling about that? And did you get to witness it in person?
I did. I was there at the trials, and it's amazingly gratifying to see that, especially, a few things that Regan had gone through, and these things are well documented in interviews that she's given. But to see her have that outstanding Olympic trial meet, set a world record, make 3 events, and actually, even almost close to a 4th event with an outstanding 100 fly swim as well. It's just fantastic to watch. The entire meet was fantastic, but to witness Regan being at her best at that meet was really great.
On day 2, I could tell that, just looking at her swims and her times, it's like, oh, she's doing phenomenal. She's having a great 100 fly, right? And then she came down to the mixed zone after the 100 fly final, and a reporter asked, are you disappointed by finishing 3rd? And she was like, no, I just went a best time. This was like a fun event, like just to kind of get into the meet and just to get some racing in. And I did incredible. And it's like kind of after hearing her say that and hearing like the perspective, it's like, she's going to have a great meet.
Absolutely. We're talking about 55.6. And, the first 3 are all top 3 in the world at that point. And it's a great swim, right? 3 women from our country in the 55s. And it's hard to be disappointed with a great swim like that. But I think also that, she knew that she was set up to have a great meet. You swim that first event, the 100 back is next. And she just was riding a great high going into that event, which is really great. So,
no kidding. Yeah. So for that 100 back, it's a 57.1 world record. It's like 5 years ago, she breaks a world record in kind of a surprising fashion. And I think here, a lot of people were surprised, but in a very different way, right? What can you compare those 2 experiences just for you of watching in 2019, her breaking a world record in that event versus, the
100 back world record from 2019 was a lead off on a relay. Mm-hmm. And at that point, she had already broken the world record in the 200 back. Mm-hmm. So there was a lot of confidence. The 200 back world record, when she swimming in that semi, was a big surprise to her, as we witnessed the video when you see that. And then there's just, instant confidence. And I'm sure that the team and the coaching staff there had pumped her up, and she really went for it in the final and produced another 2:03, but she was out in 59, which is really great. The difference for me is she led off the relay. She was given that spot. 2 of her teammates at that meet, one was Kathleen Baker was the world record holder there. And Olivia Smoligo, I think, was a bronze medal winner at the Worlds in that 100 backstroke.
And I think had won the 50.
Right, and won the 50 back. So
Yeah.
to give Regan that spot was a lot of confidence from the coaching staff. They saw that she was looking pretty good at that meet, and she just went for it. And it was a great swim and a great lead off for the relay as well. And has always been outstanding in relays. She's going to make sure she gives her team an opportunity to win.
Yeah. I mean, and so how did you feel about seeing that at trials? You know, did it feel very different?
For me, it was a little bit of the same because I watched the swim from the University of Tennessee during the diving trials. So I wasn't present at the meet at the time, but it looked like she just, first of all, she's in the final. It's your opportunity to make the Olympic team. You're swimming against great women in that heat, a loaded field of great 100 backstrokers. And she had mentioned something in an interview a little before that time, before the trials, about being able to just do exactly what she wanted to do. Okay. So here's the game plan, and to actually make the game plan happen, right? Exactly when you want to, is exactly what she did. And it was great to see after the fact that she had written that time down and posted it on her refrigerator at home. And you guys had called that what she called her shot, So she was able to execute at the right time. It's a great feeling when you can do that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So you've gotten to see her, progress throughout her entire pro career. And we're here to talk about her pre-pro career. When she was just a young swimmer, she had been quite fast for a long time. But when was the first time that you met Regan or saw Regan swim?
Well, I saw Regan swim as a 10 and under and an 11 and 12. She came to our program having just turned 13 years old. Okay. And she stayed with us all the way through COVID. So she took that gap year. It's before Tokyo. And so it was 6 years plus being in the program, almost 6.5 years. And I know she was fast. I got to witness that at some local meets. And you really don't know everything about a swimmer until they get to the practice pool. And Regan is outstanding in the practice pool. So the first month that she was on the team, our team had a swimathon that we were doing. So typically the swimathon is 200 laps. It's 5,000. And so I didn't really want her to do that day. Mm-hmm. So I had her off to the side, another lane, and I gave her this little set. I think it was 4 or 5 times around. There was a bunch of short swims, and at the end of each round was a fast swim. And the intervals were kind of tight. And I knew she's good. I just want to see how she would react to the set. And I think she got a minute between the rounds or something. So anyway, after the last round and the last time swim, I asked her to come out, and I said, well, how was that? Was that okay? Did you like that? Was it something you've done before? And she said, wow, I really like that. And I thought, wow, this is a great opportunity to see how far we can take something in training. And so we tried to do that little by little. It wasn't something like a big jump into doing that. But she's always been great in training. She likes the challenges of training. She knows what she's doing when things are challenging to her. She knows that that's there to help her get better in every way. So there's a lot of different memories I have of great sets that she's done. There's another time, and where we try to do everything on a weekly basis, right? So we're trying to do distance and IM and stroke work and sprinting, of course. And so very rarely does the whole group do a distance set. It's typically saved for the distance group when we do stroke lanes. So that particular day, it was 3 rounds, and I can't remember what the the first or second thing in the round was, but at the end of each round was 1,000 free. And so I'm handing out the workout sheets, and as I go by each lane, I hear, "Oh no, what are we doing?" And, the next lane is the same thing. Next lane is the same thing. And so I hand it to Regan in her lane. Regan looks over at the previous 3 lanes. He says, "Wow, we haven't done this for a while." And I thought, who thinks like that? Which is really great, honestly.
Yeah.
But I think she's capable of doing anything. And the most important thing is that she wants to do it well. If she's going to do something in training, whether it's details or a training set or speed work, whatever it may be, she wants to do it well.
Yeah, I mean, and it seems like she was doing it. How do you feel like, and maybe not just for Regan, but for your whole team? You talked about distance, sprint, IM. How do you find the balance of specializing with an athlete versus trying to train them to be well-rounded, and I guess as well as prepared for when they leave your program?
Right. First of all, I think in high school and even at the collegiate level, I think people are still developing. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to keep doing everything. Mm-hmm. And so we want our swimmers to be well-rounded? Of course. A couple of days a week, and then during the school year, and then maybe 3 times a week in the summertime, we'll do stroke lanes and do their specialty. So we try to have the balance of both. So it's not leaning on one side or the other. We try to balance it out. And swimmers love doing, if you're a distance swimmer, you need to do some sets that's preparing you for that. If you're a sprinter, you sure as heck want to get off the block and do, the right things there and do all the right details and power work. So we try to do that, but then I think it's valuable also to train as a team. So there's going to be some IM sets that the entire team does, and you may be a breaststroker, you may not be a breaststroker, but you're still going to do it. And I think if that makes you work harder, that just makes you better.
Absolutely. I love that philosophy. I love the training everything, because I think that's just going to make you better developmentally, better as an athlete, push you outside your comfort zone, do some breaststroke if you're not a breaststroker.
That's right.
It's like, we just discovered, the general populace just discovered Regan's breaststroke this the last couple of years is actually pretty dang good.
It is good. And there's a thing about people that are, non-breaststrokers, right? You can do one of 2 things. You can, make sure you technique it up. Let's get better at it. Let's find a way to do that. And then you can just condition yourself where tempo is the thing and you're going to get through it, right? So, Regan as a 14-year-old went to the junior national meet and she won the 200 IM. And it's a short course version of that. And I think at the time, it was probably a national junior record as well.
No kidding. Yeah.
So I think it was back in 2015, I want to guess. I think it was. Okay. It was in San Antonio.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, she was like, I think at 14 she was 156 200 IM, which she'd probably laugh at today, but that was a winning time at the junior meet then.
Yeah, I'm guessing that would have qualified for NCAAs that year, right? I mean, that's pretty dang fast.
I'd say yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
It might be 155 now or something. I'm not really sure. I'd have to check it out.
Yeah, I would guess that. Yeah, it's around there. But
their long course, her technique got better. She's got a lot stronger. On a daily basis, she's swimming with Marshawn and the guys, the 400 IM guys, all of those guys, and so you don't really have a choice. If you're doing the same set, you're flying, and maybe it's better not to think about it so much and just get after it.
When she made the move to ASU, it was kind of like, oh, she's going to train with Bob Bowman, like cool. And then I don't think it really hit me until I went there in December and filmed them, and I was like, oh, Regan is training with Bob. Just she's not training with a different, there's not different groups. It's just all of Bob's athletes at once doing the same stuff.
Right. Well, listen,
Yeah.
it's a great fit for Reagan. It really
Yeah.
is. I would say that to some degree, Bob and I are compatible in some of in how we approach training and training philosophy and things like that. And it's just another level, right? And she's there and she's training with, like herself, she's training with world-class athletes on a daily basis. And that is just something if you can do that and you're doing that day after day, there's going to be improvement over a period of time. There's no doubt.
Yeah. So I would also imagine in the case of Reagan with Bob's group that there aren't too many other women in the country who can maybe keep up with Reagan on a day-to-day basis and everything she's doing. And certainly maybe not in that specific pool, but, to have some of those men to push her and to, kind of keep her ego in check, I'm guessing is a really good thing for an athlete who's so competitive.
Yeah, I don't know about keeping her ego in check. I think she really values the opportunity to chase. In our program,
That's a much better way to put it. I wasn't implying Reagan had an ego, but yes, your phrasing is
right,
much better.
Right. And I think in our program, the clock was her training partner. Now there were some good teammates as well. And then in any given day, somebody could step up, but every day Reagan stepped up. It was a rare day where she may not have had the exceptional practice that she wanted, but she always would say like, well, I held my underwaters, I did all the details, but the next day she would come back and just crush the next practice. It was very rare that it wasn't a great training session for her. And I remember a number of times being able to say to her after the practice, walking by saying, that was a great job. And I said, she was already a pro before she was a pro in terms of swim training.
So, and you've had experience developing world-class athletes in the past, but I'm curious how you managed that, outside of the training portion of just, she's making world championships at 15.
15, yes.
It's like she's breaking world records at 17, like, for a high school girl. How as her coach, how do you help her balance that, especially, of having a life maybe outside of the pool as well?
Yeah, I think I don't want to talk for Reagan because I think this is a better question for her a little bit about she is very dedicated. All right. She really, I think at some point she had made a commitment to, I'm really going to see what I can do here. How far can I take this? So she's kind of a pretty simple life away from the pool, I think. And it's something you could ask her. I mean, I think she's going to go home, do her homework. She's going to rest. She's going to watch a movie. She's going to enjoy being with her friends, just like anybody at those ages. But I do remember going to a pro meet a couple times, and you have to do your homework when you're on the road. You have to stay up with everything. And I remember saying a couple times we'd get home late after the last day of the meet, and I'd say, "Do you want to take tomorrow to maybe catch up, or you need some time, and we'll get back to it on Tuesday morning or something?" And she said, "No, I think I should come in." So she was. Very rarely would let it go, if ever, actually. I mean, she was consistently training. There wasn't too much of a time where she was taking any time off, really.
Yeah, which is pretty remarkable for someone in high school who's just kind of doing it. But you see the results that yielded for her, right?
Absolutely. I mean, I always felt like I always had confidence that when we went to any competition, whether it was in season or the end of the season, that there was going to be a great performance. She makes the training work. She makes that time period towards the rest time. She doesn't rest a whole lot, just enough. Yeah. But she's able to really use the training for performance. And again, I never went into a competition thinking, well, this isn't going to be good. I always thought it was going to be good, and almost every time it was.
Was there a time that it wasn't as expected, where you as a coach said, okay, I know what I did wrong here, or I'm going to learn?
We always listen. If we're not, we should always be learning, right? Even in great performances, you better find out, well, how am I going to get better? You just can't be satisfied with that and stay there. And if there's a blip or it's something you say, well, these couple things could be better, then you're going to try to figure that out, right? But even in those times, she made off performances pretty good.
Yeah. Can't argue with that, man. Yeah. So looking back a little bit, you got to see her swim as a 10-year-old, as an 11, 12-year-old. She came to your club at 13. As a coach, was there a time or a moment when you sort of thought to yourself, all right, this athlete could make the Olympic team? Like you saw glimpses of that. And if so, do you remember the first time that happened?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I did see her swim as a 10, 11, and 12-year-old at local meets here. But the very first time was when she was 13. And at the end of that first season that she was with us, we went to, it was San Antonio. It was that outdoor facility, that amazing place that has all the water space. Yeah. And she was in the 100 fly, the 200 back, and the 100 back at that meet. And when we got to the 100 back, she had finaled in the 200 back. When we got to the 100 back, I think she was seeded third going into the final. And we talked about the race a little bit, and I just kind of said, okay, go out and do the race. I just wanted to see what she would do, right? She's 13, and I'm not sure she'd ever been to the summer version of the junior national meet at that point. Mm-hmm. So anyway, she goes and she's first at the 50, and she didn't blink. She was going for it, and she ended up second in that 100 back there. She made Olympic trial time. She had actually made an Olympic trial time before she got there.
Okay.
But so she went faster, and I thought to myself, well, this person has the ability to continue improving. This isn't going to be a one and done kind of thing. And so how do we go from here? What do we want to do? How do we want to approach the training, now, and then in the near future, and then, further down the road as well. So you try to make a plan for those things. It's not magical from day to day. It has to be planned, and then you go about your business trying to execute those plans.
Yeah. And, it seems like you executed fairly well.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I would say any coach loves walking on the pool deck and having athletes or an athlete that's willing to do the work that you're setting up for them, because they know it's valuable for them and how they're going to improve by doing it. And that defines Regan for me. I loved coming to the pool and watching her train. When she left to go to school, and then eventually with Bob, it's something that I miss watching, because we all have to be a fan of amazing. Okay, so there's amazing athletes out there in every sport, and I tend to keep following those same athletes because they're amazing, and I want to see what they're going to do next. And so in training, that was Regan.
Yeah. I mean, and speaking of following amazing, in a couple days you're headed to Paris. You get to go watch. What emotions are you feeling now as you get to go and see another hopefully amazing performance by Regan? Is it nervousness? Is it excitement? Is it pride?
Oh yeah, it's all of those things. There's definitely pride. I would love to see her do what she would like to do there. She wants to have the meet of her life, of course. Everybody can make that assumption, right? But I think she really, really wants to get down and see how fast she can go. Fast performance is probably going to be very good medal performance. I mean, she's going to be in some great races. There's no doubt, right? And you have to have that confidence in what you've done in your training, what you've done just recently, like at the Olympic trials, whatever you're doing at the couple of training camps that are, preceding these Olympics. And so I do have pride in what she's done, and there's always a little bit of nervousness, but I look forward to seeing what she can do. I very much want to see how fast she can go and what performances she can have there.
Yeah. And in that same vein, as a club coach, as someone who worked with her for a long time, but as he obviously is now not her primary coach, where do you see your relationship with Regan today?
It's more, there's no coaching going on. It's really on the support side. And so over this time that she's been training with Bob, it's, she lets me know sometimes what the training is. She's been really great to send some training once in a while that I love seeing and how she's doing. And like I'll say way back in time and say a little while ago, I'd say, hey, is there any kind of fun sets that you've done lately that you like? And she would send them. Or maybe she'd say, well, I really didn't like what I did in this one particular day, so I didn't send that one. not what the set was, but how she did with the set.
Yeah.
And so there's a pride that you should have with your training. I think it's really important for every athlete and every swimmer to feel pride about what you can accomplish in your training. And that just sets you up for the next day, the next week, the rest of the season. If you can continue to do that, you're just getting better all the time. But again, the relationship is very much is one of support. When she swims, whether it's a pro meet or wherever it is, and I just want to text her and say, great job. That was great to see. Well done.
Mm-hmm. Which, that's a great, that should be a great message to receive from anyone, right?
Yeah, I hope so. But I mean, I absolutely mean that. I mean, I'll watch the stuff. It'll be on live stream or if it's on TV, and so I don't want to miss that kind of stuff. I want to see it, and I got to see a couple of races at the trials, obviously, and that was fun too. That's just an amazing atmosphere at a football stadium.
No kidding, right? I mean, it's for me personally, someone who was working at it and very busy during the meet, it was kind of a blur, but like looking back, it's pretty special and unique place to have a swim meet and just overall event experience.
Absolutely. I hope they do it again. I thought it was great.
Yeah, absolutely. So looking back on training Regan and preparing her for world championships, for Olympic trials, for Olympic games, do you have things that stick out to you as takeaways or as things that you've carried into your coaching now that you've learned from getting to work with Regan?
Oh yeah. Well, the first thing is that, coaching her for a trials after COVID, hopefully that's a one and done and nobody has to ever do that again.
Yeah.
That was a different experience for sure. But the thing that the takeaway is when you watch somebody great like that day after day, season after season, you look at other swimmers and say, how can we help that swimmer get to do those kinds of details? How can we, and obviously there's different ability levels for everyone. Okay. We understand that, but how can they be their best doing what the best swimmers are doing in training? Now, for us at our team, that applies to Regan, right? But you can go on YouTube and let's see what Missy was doing. Let's see what Michael was doing. Hey guys, let's see that start again by Dressel, which is incredible. I don't know if anybody can duplicate that, but you're trying to be the best you can be, and you're trying to do those things. And so I looked at Regan in training and said, well, how can I get my backstrokers to hold their line and get their kicks in? What do they have to do? How can I, I remember taking out some video and showing some of the kids, all right, this is where you want to be. This is what you want to try to do. And then, you take it step by step. So it's, at some point it's a drill right? At some point, you're doing it as a set, and then it's a training set, right? You're doing all those details in a training set, and when you get to that point, then you got it down. Now your race is going to can be automatic from all those details. It's hard to do in the very beginning, So
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk about underwater kicking, and I don't think it's automatic for anybody. I think you have to work at it, and you have to continue to work at it. So I think Regan's pretty good at that. That's a big understatement. I think it's a big part of her, coming off a start and off the wall. And she does it quickly. She gets from point A to point B very quickly. It breaks out and she's on her way. And so that takes a lot of work. It's not something, again, that's automatic. Everybody has to train it again and again and again. And she's done some great work doing that.
It's great. Yeah. I really love that answer, just because you emphasized that not every athlete is going to do exactly what she's doing, but they can take away from the things that she's doing and apply them to themselves.
Yeah. I mean, you're going to be the best version of yourself. Okay. You be who you are, and yeah, I would say most backstrokers would like to be Regan. I get that. But at the same time, if you drop time and you continue to drop time because you're improving doing all of these things, then you should feel pride and you're doing the right thing. So keep it going.
Yeah. keep it moving. Right.
Right. I like that.
That's so last question, Mike. I've asked, the other coaches we've spoken to this, if you had to do it all over again, from Regan at 13 to Regan at, I guess, 19, when she left for school, is there anything you do differently or modify or tweak?
Well, I would hope that there wasn't COVID. I wish that wasn't. I wish that didn't happen. Yeah. Because I think we were really set up well in 2020. I really do.
I remember that pro meet at Des Moines at the beginning of March 2020. I was there, and you feel the energy of an Olympic year, and you can tell who is on. And Regan was on one.
Felt really good. And that was March, and we're looking forward to June. And a couple of days later, we didn't have that. Yeah. But if I had anything, it's funny. I really have never thought about this. I don't know if I've done anything differently, because we try to do everything in the training. I wanted her to try everything, and I don't know if she's ever swum a 1650 in a meet. We did it in practice or something once. Like we actually did it individually. So it wasn't like in a set. We did it in heats one day. Mm-hmm. But because I told her at some point, I said, I think you might have been a distance swimmer in another life, because she can. She won the 500 at juniors one year, and it was a pretty good job, and it was fast. What would I do different? Well, I don't know. She did everything so well. It's hard to. I didn't have to do anything different. She was that good.
That's a pretty good answer. Can't ask for much more than that.
Right. So I'd have to really think about it different.
Yeah.
I like the things that I asked her this one time, and this really made me happy. I said, because we try to do everything like I just said. What if there were 2 new strokes created in swimming, and it provided another 4 to 6 events? Would you like that? She's like, oh yeah, I'd really like that. So variety is a really cool thing, doing something different, coming in and you can do that on a weekly basis. I think it'd be boring doing the same thing every single day. Like if you're going to do freestyle 6 days a week, I think that'd be boring. Yeah. I mean, breaststrokers might like it, but hopefully there was a lot of kicking, drilling going on as well. But I kind of feel like, doing different things is good, and it all helps you get better.
Yeah. Perfect. Mike, I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat and reflect, and have fun in Paris, and enjoy the ride.
Thank you. It'll be fun.
You've been listening to the SwimSwam podcast. Stay tuned for new episodes every week. You can take SwimSwam podcast on the go by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. Look for links in the description below, and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos as well.